Hello everyone, it's UXW Bill here once again with one more video before I retire for the evening. You see, tonight marks the end of my 1-week vacation from work, and so tomorrow I have to be back with my nose at the grindstone bright and early in the morning. But I think there is time to sneak in one more video, and by popular demand, I guess I'll go ahead and make it a computer video. Let's see what we have here. This is a Dell Dimension XPS P90c mini tower, or maybe even a mid tower, since it's got 3 5¼ inch drive bays. But before I talk about that, I want to touch on something else for a moment. A lot of people, and I think many of them are the younger viewers who happen to watch my videos, have often asked me where they can go to get free computers like I do. Well, computers are a big part of my life. In both my personal and professional lives, I spend all my time working on computers. It is what I do to pay the bills in both a freelance and professional sense. So a lot of people out there know that I am very much into computer equipment, and whenever they have an old computer or they find one in storage somewhere and they no longer want it, usually the first thing they happen to think of happens to be me. Now, if you want to find computers like that and you don't happen to work on them very often, ask around to your friends and family members. See if they might have one that's been moldering away in an attic, a basement, or even a closet somewhere. And ask them if you can have it. That's my best advice. And now, on with the show. Let's go ahead and have a look at this thing and see what's going on here. This computer was actually given to me by someone who I have worked for in the past. They had it in their home for a couple of weeks. The person who gave it to them had been storing it in an unheated shed for, probably, if I had to guess, I'd say 5 or 6 years, but I really don't know. And then it came to me, and it sat over in the Roach Palace for probably another year or two on top of that. So it's definitely had plenty of opportunity to get dirty over the years. And I guess I'll be a little bit surprised if it powers up without issue, because it could certainly use a good cleaning. And it also has a couple of age-related problems. This is supposed to be a toolless case. However, the little clips that once held the case in place have broken off. This one over here is completely missing, and this one back over on the left side is pretty much completely broken. So the cover basically pulls off of this system without any requirement to unscrew or loosen anything. Someone has borrowed a couple of the power supply screws. There's still 2 holding it in and 2 that need to be replaced, but that shouldn't be a big deal, as I've got some screws kicking around. You can see the Dell Service Tag back here. This is one thing that I particularly like about Dell computers. No matter how old they are, they all have a service tag or an express service code number that you can punch into the website and be taken immediately to the right place. Sometimes you can even get a comprehensive roster of the installed hardware on these machines. However, this one is far too old for that. In fact, Dell's website knew what it was, but they didn't have anything on the specific processor clock speed or what hardware the system would have left the factory with. So I know the configuration has been changed, as there's things like a USB card back here, but I don't know how much the configuration has been changed over the years. Anyway, the cover just pulls off now, and what I know from having reshot this video now is that if you don't allow sufficient room for this cover to come off, you will knock your water on the floor, and then you will end up having to use a good old dehumidifier to dry up the mess after you've toweled up as much as you possibly can. So follow my suggestion and don't do that. Here's what we've got inside. It's kind of a mess. There's a lot of dust and stuff down there, and it looks, yeah, somebody has stuck a fan in back there. You really can't see it. I don't even know if the camcorder light will be enough to bring it out. No, it's really not visible. I can see it with my eyes, but I can't really see it through the video camera. As grunty as that fan is looking, I kind of doubt that it works. It's left a bunch of nasty looking crud on the motherboard, but at least those 2 electrolytic capacitors still look good. There's probably a 90 megahertz Pentium processor. There's a sound card, the USB adapter, which has what on it? It has a VIA chip of some kind on it. And there's the video card, and then there's the modem on top. have connections for the various hard drives, floppy drives, and the CD-ROM drive, which at some point has been replaced with a 40-speed maximum drive. Clearly not original issue, and you can just kind of see the power supply nestled back in there behind everything else. So there's definitely a lot of stuff going on in here. There's memory sims down there. Let's see, I'll just go ahead and turn the light on. I'd leave the light on, but it kind of saps the battery on this thing, which already isn't in the best of shape. Looks like maybe 2 8 megabyte and 2 4 megabyte modules by my guess. I guess we'll see how accurate that is when I power it up. But the interesting thing is there's 2 hard drives in this machine. This Seagate on top might well be the original. This one on the bottom looks like a slimline Maxtor, and it has probably been replaced at some point. It's probably not the original drive for this machine, because that looks like a much newer series of drive than would have existed at the time this computer was built. I guess I ought to go ahead and find a keyboard and a mouse and everything I need to hook it up. Got a mouse right there. Got some keyboards over there. And for the monitor, why don't we just go period correct with that and haul out a good old CRT. Alrighty, everything's hooked up now. I really don't know what's going to happen. I'll be a little surprised if this machine does boot without errors, because it looks like the CR2032 clock battery is actually original to the system. Here we go. I also got a little bit of a spark when I plugged the power cord in, so I don't know. This system appears to have a hard power switch. Here we go. Smoke test. Well, it did power up. Press delete if you want to run setup. 24 megabytes of memory. Keyboard and mouse detected. Yeah, that hard drive is definitely a lot newer than the rest of the system, but it's only detecting one hard drive. I don't believe it. The time and date actually seem to be correct. Unbelievable. As long as this thing has been sitting, most of the time when I pick up computers that have been sitting for a while, they've got some very interesting ideas about what the time and date are, but this thing seems not to have minded even slightly. I'll go ahead and try enabling that second hard drive later, because maybe it's dead for all I know. Got keyboard error settings, system password, setup password, all this stuff. Let's go ahead and see if this thing will boot and what it's running. Yep, it's got a disk overlay helper to let it utilize the big hard drive, and Windows 98. Well, it sure is a darn sight better than Windows Millennium. Just see how long it takes to boot up here. What I really can't believe, listen to that. There's more tape motor noise coming off the camcorder than there is sound from this computer. This thing is unbelievably quiet. Oh, look at that. It seems there's a bug in the system. Plug and play monitor. Well, that's interesting. You know, you hear that some computer users don't take backup very seriously, but it looks like the previous owner of this computer certainly did. I don't know if they intended to do that or not, but they very clearly put the Microsoft backup program in the startup items. Here comes the rest of the desktop. This desktop is a little too thematic for my liking. I think we're going to change that back to something a little more basic. Alright, things are looking a good deal better right now. I don't think the screen is in high color mode because we're not getting the fancy high color icons. Not much in the way of things on the desktop other than something called Hide and Secret, which I would assume is some kind of a game. And of course Microsoft Backup, which we'll go ahead and close out. Now curiously, this thing has Adaptec Direct CD. Obviously it's old enough that it was still Adaptec at the time. Installed on it, but there's no CD burner unless maybe they had a USB one, so I don't know what's going on with that. Let's just go in here and see. It's registered to Randy. I don't know who that'd be. What's going on in the device manager? Oh, we've definitely got some problems along the way here. There's a problem with the graphics adapter. Looks like maybe it was installed twice somehow. The modem drivers don't even seem to exist. and there's probably some kind of a resource conflict with the sound hardware, and it also appears that the USB adapter isn't working so very well. I don't think I'm going to worry too much about sorting that out right now. I don't know what I'll do with this system, but I suspect I'll go ahead and put some more memory in it. I've got some 8 megabyte modules that I could probably get it up to a nice round 32 megabytes with, and then I might see about erasing all this stuff off of it and kind of setting myself up a proper Windows 98 machine, because outside of PS2s and stuff, I don't have anything running Windows 98 on a regular basis, and it might be kind of fun to just relive those days for a little while. Let's see if there's anything much in the way of stuff on this hard drive. Doesn't look like there's anything in the My Documents folder. What kind of software is on here? Got a pretty decent selection of software on the machine. Looks like a copy of Microsoft Office 2000. Guess I'll go ahead and just bring that up here. See what's going on. And looks like there have definitely been some documents on the computer, but they've probably been deleted, and I don't really care enough to bring them back, so I'm not going to worry about that. Especially since I'm almost certainly not keeping this Windows 98 installation and whatever trouble it may have brought along with it. But I am really quite impressed. This computer system seems to be working surprisingly well for all the sitting and filth and neglect that it's been subjected to. I'll have to see how well it cleans up, and I think I found something really good to clean up grungy computers with. I've had this old Apple CRT here for a very long time. It goes with the Power Macintosh 9600-350. That was kicked out and cast off from my place of work, and my dad found this monitor on the curb, and there was this mess on the front. I really can't explain what it was, but it seemed like maybe it was coming out of the plastic or something. It was this kind of sticky substance, and nothing I tried would take it off. And so I'd been cleaning the desktop with this before Weasel 2 HTM got here, and I just happened to think maybe I should try that on the monitor, and look at that. It's come back to basically perfect shape now. There's just a little bit of a telltale down there, so maybe I'll try scrubbing this computer case down with it. But it doesn't seem that there's anything too terribly exciting on this system, and since I think it's probably safe to bet that it is really 2:08 in the morning, I have to be at work tomorrow, I think it's time to call it quits. Shut this crazy thing down, because I really can't think of anything else too interesting to say about it. I'll probably see if I can get that second hard drive to show up at a later time, because I'm just pretty much out of energy right now, and like the computer, I think I'm going to go upstairs and shut down. So good night, everybody. Thank you for watching, and feel free to leave a comment if you have one.